to the end of eternity beginning naturally. You gotta show me love.
Yes, yes, yes. It is I. It is I. Let me get this one. Sorry about that. Hold on. Nope. Hold on. Sorry about that. I know there's a lie. I just jumped on. They talking about 3 views. Okay. All right. Give me 1 second. I'm doing something real quick. But we about to get into some meat today, baby. Let me see. Okay. Boom. Boom. All right, let's go with it. Sorry about that. Give me 1 second. But, you know, in the long run, I'm on 2 platforms, so bear with me. I'm on 2 platforms. Bear with me. I want to play music so bad. They just been not monetizing me so bad. It's crazy. Let's see what I can get here. All right. So I'm one that don't really get into politics anymore. It's not, that's not my thing. I come up, you know, playing basketball, as y'all already know. As far as for the NBA, you know, I'm a 90s baby. I'm come up in the Jordan era when basketball was real, this and that. But it been some things going on behind closed doors that's kind of alarming, if you want to say that. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get into the schedules. How you doing? How you doing? I'm gonna get into the schedules of the NBA scandals. These 2 guys that you see behind me, David Stern and this new dude, whatever his name is. Like that show you how not in tune I'm in with the NBA. But so pretty much let's start with I want to start with the Michael Jordan Indiana Pacers uh, game in '98. Now, of course, I'm in Chicago, right? But the Bulls did not really win Game 7 in Indiana Pacers. And I've been saying this before a lot of information came out. The Bulls really didn't win. Okay. Let me see where we at. How you doing? So, no, the Bulls didn't really win the 98, that Game 7 with Indiana Pacers. They was actually down quite a few points in the second half. And some things was done because, remember, the Bulls, this was the last dance, and everybody knew it. They knew Jordan wasn't coming back, Rodman. They know Pippen was leaving. They know Phil Jackson was going to the Lakers. So this last dance had to be something, profound. What the NBA do, they create situations. And I'm gonna show y'all. But they created a lot of situations, you know what I mean? They kind of like wrestling. When you dealt with wrestling with WWF, they kind of knew who they wanted their champion to be. Like Hulk Hogan, we gonna make sure he win. NBA kind of knew, who they want to win for that year. Same with the wrestling, same with the football, like with Mahomes and them just lost. This stuff is rigged, even back then when you dealt with boxing. Remember Muhammad Ali? That's why he got with the Nation of Islam. When he got with the Nation of Islam, the mob was telling him to throw certain games and, not games, but fights. And he wouldn't throw the fights. Muhammad Ali wouldn't throw the fights. He wouldn't. So by him not throwing the fights, he had to get with Malcolm X and the Nation of Islam. Now, he had to split from Malcolm X. Reason why he split from Malcolm X is because, what's the dude name? Elijah Muhammad. He really had the protection. At this time, Malcolm X is thrown out the Nation of Islam. I'm going somewhere with it. I need y'all to bear with me. I'm going somewhere with it. So Muhammad Ali had to side with the Nation of Islam over his friend Malcolm X because he needed protection. You know what I mean? The mob was controlling fights back in them days. You know what I mean? The Sonny Liston fight. That's how Muhammad Ali got in. He threw the fight with Cassius Clay when he stood over him like that. He threw that fight. He couldn't beat Sonny Liston. Come on, man. For those who have an ear, let them hear. All right. So let's get it. Let's get it cracking. I'm on 2 platforms, y'all, so bear with me. 2 platforms, so bear with me. Okay, so look. I want to start back with this, and I'm trying to do this quick. I want to start back with the Chicago Bulls 98 Indiana Pacers game. They didn't have a better team than Indiana. They didn't. They had the Rick Smiths, the Dale Davis. The Jalen Rose was killing them. You had the Reggie Miller. You know, I think Austin Crozier was there. Travis Bass, he was lightning quick. Remember, the Bulls had an old team during that time. So, you know, but let me show you something. I'm going to show you some things that kind of changed the game over to where we thought it was odd, but now it's obvious. Check this. Let me see. Hold on one second. Let's go here. And boom. All right, so let's do this like this here.
Ever wondered what your home looks like from space? Enter your address and get a 360-degree satellite view of your home right now. See your city, your street, even your rooftop from above like never before. Download now for free to get started. Just enter your...
So for this 90s Sports Nostalgia video, I want to take a look at Game 7 of the 1998 Eastern Conference Finals between the Chicago Bulls and the Indiana Pacers. The Bulls, they ultimately wound up winning the series in 7 games as neither team lost on their home court. As for this Game 7, Indiana, they had a chance to win. The Pacers during this era were known for their toughness and their defense, but for this game, there were 3 defensive possessions in the 4th quarter that caught my eye when I went back and watched this game again. These 3 possessions, they weren't Pacer-esque basketball on defense. So without further ado, on this first Pacers defensive possession that I want to take a look at, Indiana, they're up 77-74 with under 7 minutes to play. Derek McKee makes a nice defensive play to knock the ball out of Jordan's hands. This led to a jump ball, which would be between the 7'4" Rick Smits and the 6'6" Michael Jordan. And with that said, Indiana obviously had a huge advantage and a great chance to gain possession with a 3-point lead. But instead, the tip went to Scottie Pippen, Bulls ball, and later on with this possession, Jordan winds up taking a fadeaway jumper. Now I want to pause it here. Jordan's fadeaway jumper is going to hit the front of the rim and miss. But right here, there are 5 Pacers, each with 2 feet in the paint, and only Chicago's Luke Longley is in the lane, and I'm not including Jordan, who is fading away. But the Pacers, they're in excellent position to get this rebound, but Luke Longley sneaks in without a body checking him and is able to tip the ball out. So now Pippen, he gets the ball. And what may be difficult is that after penetration or help defense, and the ball quickly gets out to the perimeter, defenders may be scattered and out of position, which means communication is important. So here, Travis Best, I think he did the right thing by rotating and getting to the open player who was 1 pass away. In this case, that player was Michael Jordan. And as you see Best, he's motioning and trying to communicate. Watch Best again trying to communicate. Best is trying to communicate and motion for someone to get to his man Steve Kerr, who is 2 passes away. But instead, McKee decides to stick to his man Michael Jordan, leaving Best's man Steve Kerr with a wide open look and plenty of time to set up and tie it up with a 3. For the second possession, tied up at 79, a little over 5 minutes left to play. Now Reggie Miller, he was guarding Pippen with McKee and Jordan. Now NBA fans from the 90s, they're not used to seeing Miller down low, and Scottie Pippen, he was one of the best rebounding small forwards in the 90s. But not a Luke Longley missed shot, Pippen isn't boxed out and he's able to out-rebound and out-hustle Miller. But then as the possession continues, Miller, he's still guarding Pippen. Now I'm going to pause it here as Tony Kukoc, he sets a normal screen. I think Miller, he was supposed to go underneath the screen and not trail because of where the screen was set. And typically for screens or pin downs, the person guarding the screener needs to leave space for his teammate to have more room to get through. But in this case, there isn't any room as Antonio Davis, who's guarding Kukoc, is not in good position and may have been late recognizing the Kukoc screen, which resulted in not allowing space for Miller to get through. But at Davis, if he got to this position sooner, Miller would have been fine. But it didn't happen that way sooner. Perhaps Miller saw there wasn't any space, which may have led to Miller trying to go behind and trail Pippen, but nonetheless Miller, he was screened, was slowed down greatly, which resulted in Miller being way behind Pippen, and Smits, he was left on an island trying to guard Pippen. Now for the last possession that I want to take a look at, there's another similar situation with Miller and Davis. Here, the Bulls are up by 2 with about 2 minutes left to play, and Indiana, they really need a stop. Now Chicago, they're going to run some pinch post action, and I'm just going to go ahead and just run the play. Pippen gets fouled with a chance to make a 3-point play and give the Bulls a 5-point lead. Now I talked previously that Antonio Davis needed to give Miller room to get through the screen. Now I'm going to put this play in slow motion and take a look at Antonio Davis, as it looked like that Davis initially moved back with his right foot to give Miller some room, but for some reason, Davis seemed to have a quick change of mind and did not move his left foot, which caused a collision between Miller and Davis. Now I have no idea what happened here between Miller and Davis, but it was costly. Pippen missed a free throw, but the Bulls, they got the offensive rebound as Indiana got absolutely destroyed on the offensive glass in this game, as you see here with the graphics. And the Bulls, they didn't score, but they ran a lot of time off the clock. So the Bulls, they won 88-83. And when I went back and watched this game, these were 3 defensive possessions that really hurt Indiana. As a sports fan back then, I wasn't, and I'm still not a fan of dynasties, as I really wanted Indiana to win this game. I would have loved to see an Indiana-Utah finals, although there may have been sports writers who ooze out elitism, whining and crying.
Well, I don't know about that one. So this one, I'm going to do this here. That's not the one I was looking for. Let me see something. So Travis Betts, they took away a 3. Which should have went. But, you know, back then, this was a big, huge play with the Travis Bass 3-point, let me see, that they took away. Not that one there. I think this was Travis Bass 3 taken away. They actually took the man 3 away, and how y'all don't got that one? That was the biggest play of the series. See some.
You got the magic touch.
Bouncing now. What about the then? In the Bulls and Pacers, May 25th, 1998. Reggie Miller and the Pacers getting set to take on Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and the rest of the Bulls. Here we go early in the first quarter. Bulls trailing by 3. Pippen finds MJ on the baseline, and he knocks it down to make it a 1-point Pacers lead. And then Jordan rejected by Rick Smits. Check this out, Jordan rising, and Rick Smits says, He was feeling frisky because he had the ball head. I love that replay right there. To a significant amount of blood, however, Jordan had to go to the locker room to have his head checked out. He would soon return, though, because he's a warrior like that. And look, he's got the butterfly bandage on his eye. Second quarter now, Jordan working on Jalen Rose. Shot clock winding down, puts him in the torture chamber. Not the Kevin McHale torture chamber, the Jordan torture chamber. He had 28 on the night. And then Reggie Miller. Oh, that's a beautiful shot. Gets his pass from Mark Jackson, drills it. Miller played 42 minutes despite a sprained ankle. Warriors all over the place in this game. Second half now, Jordan working on Miller, taking advantage of that ankle injury. Oh, that is one of the sickest fadeaways of all time. Vintage Jordan later in the third. Jordan gives it to Pippen, being guarded by the 5'11 Travis Best. You got to exploit the mismatch, and the 6'7 Pippen knocks it down. Pippen, 12 points, 10 assists. Under a minute to go in the fourth. Best uses the screen from Smith, slicing through high off glass, ties the game. Now 2.9 to go in the fourth. Pacers down by 1. Derek McKee going to inbound it to Miller, and oh, he hits the unbelievable fall-away three. Pacer fans are going nuts. Miller himself is going berserk. Watch Miller again. Remember, this is all on a sprained ankle. Gives Jordan a pretty good shove, receives the pass, and hits nothing but net. Now, 7:10 left. You know who's going to get the ball. Tony Kukoc to Jordan. He gets open, and watch this. Flash just barely rattles out. A heart-stopping finish in Indiana. Jordan can't believe that shot didn't fall. And on the second look, I'm not sure.
You know what? I forgot about that push that that Reggie Miller did on Michael Jordan. I forgot about that push. You know, that was I can't see why they not showing when they took the Travis Best 3 away. It's crazy. Let me go to the internet, bro. Let me see. This crazy. Let me see. 1998 Bulls. Cause that's why you gotta have stuff. Best 3 remove. That would have kind of really gone. I think that was going to halftime. All right. All right. It say in the 1998. Make sure y'all can see. Okay. It's in the 1998 Eastern Conference Finals, Game 4. But that's Game 4. Oh, okay. A 3-point shot by Pacers guard Travis Best was removed from the scoreboard because it was ruled that his toe was on the 3-point line, thus being a 2-point shot instead of a 3. The official ruling changed his points, but not the outcome of the game. Okay. So that was Game 4. It's been a while. You understand? It's definitely been a while. What y'all doing? What y'all doing? How y'all doing? Okay, so look, I spent too much time on this. Let's just say that, you know, for time's sake, right? Let me do this. Sorry about that. For time's sake, I want to finish. Let's finish with this broadcast, right? So. It was said, again, because of the Last Dance, and they wanted that the Bulls to, you know, do that repeat, the three-peat, you know, that the Bulls had to advance. But clearly, you know, a lot of things that happened during that series, it was said that, like in Game 7 when they was down, that they wanted the Bulls to advance. Like, even Larry Bird, he took Jalen Rose out. Jalen Rose was torching them. You know, this young Jalen Rose, I think he was a rookie or something coming in the league. He was torching the Bulls. They couldn't do anything with him, nothing. And so what ended up happening, Larry Bird ended up sitting Jalen Rose down. They talked about it. I believe they did something, but Larry Bird retired after that. He said he was done with the politics. This is the first time you're really hearing about politics dealing with, you know, the NBA. Not, I won't say the first time, because a lot of things happened prior to that, but as far as to my understanding, as to, you know, when I really started becoming aware that all this was politics and it's based on Vegas mobs and, you know, lotteries and, you know, certain teams getting a lottery pit. Like, you know, a lot of this stuff happens, you know, not by chance, but, you know what I'm saying, you know, by the unseen hand. You understand? So, I know with that being said, it's for to get real rough. It's for to get real rough. All right. Let me see. This is for to blow your mind. Dennis Schroeder. Do anybody know Dennis Schroeder? The one who turned down $84 million, right? Dennis Schroeder turned down $84 million with the LeBron James, you know. Now, the thing about the Dennis Schroeder thing, right? A lot of people don't know that Dennis Schroeder had some problems with LeBron James mid-season. When the season first started, they wanted to re-sign Schroeder, and they told him, like, at the end of the season, we'll give you something like $85 million contract. ballpark, you know, even with the union, they saying, well, this is what he's worth, you know, based on his numbers. The way the NBA do things, based on a certain number. You know what I mean? He's putting up 18 points a game, 5 assists, 2 rebounds. When you start doing things like that for the NBA, you come in a certain bracket to where they can pay you. Then Schroeder was in that bracket. What ended up happening, because he played for the Lakers, I think, did he come for Indiana? I think he came for Indiana or the Hawks or something. But he ended up playing for the Lakers. He played with LeBron. He was getting along with AD. He was speaking to everybody. But mid-season, him and LeBron crashed. Now, the $85 million that they said they had offered him, it was never written in stone. They just had a talk. The agent like, yeah, you know what? We like this guy towards the end of the season. We're just going to give him $85 million. Woo, woo, woo. That was a lie. He was never offered $84 million and turned it down and had to go and sign with Boston for $5 million. Dennis Schroeder tried to tell people this. He tried. He like, you know, he said something in a jokingly matter as far as, you know, with the no, let me see, hold on for a second. Because I don't know if y'all got comments here or not. Okay. So in that matter, somebody, Dennis Schroeder, he tried to speak on that matter, saying that money was never offered. It was a hoax. I heard, this is what I hear, allegedly. LeBron media team put that out, saying that he was a difficult person. Anytime you difficult, you know, they don't want to deal with you. You can say that even, you know, with the Spreewell, when he went to go choke PJ Caruso, when Spreewell choked him, when Spreewell said he didn't want to sign for the $107 million, I got to feed my family. Y'all remember that? You know, when you start becoming difficult in the NBA, they start to shop you around. You know, a lot of things happen. You know, but this part of LeBron James fact. You know what I mean? And again, you know, off court, you know, he can be a great guy. Just basketball wise, I don't really rock with him. Okay, so let's do this. Dennis Schroeder was never offered $84 million. You heard it from me. He was never offered $84 million. He tried to say something. They didn't let it go out the media. You know what I mean? But he was never offered the $84 million. He didn't turn down $84 million because he was never offered $84 million. That was put in the media. And he tried to speak on it. At his birthday, I think he did a birthday party. He kind of said something about it. Didn't nobody listen. They LOL it, you know what I mean? But he was never offered $84 million. Remember, the union tried to get in on top of that and speak upon that. You understand? So even when the union tried to speak on that, they kind of, you know, shut it all down. How y'all doing? So that's, you know, now I want to say something about the LeBron James hand. All right, I want to get into the, you know, the LeBron James hand. Now, when we dealing with LeBron James, you know, I want to say that, remember when it first became, you know, noticeable, but that this guy is something different with the Dante West. Remember, he was having sex with LeBron James' mama, right? He was out the league the next year. The next year, he was out the league because he was banging LeBron James' mama. Which they was all grown, but I guess it was embarrassment. That's when he was with Cleveland. Just before he won the championships, he was still young. He was having sex with LeBron James' mama. So now Devontae West is out the league, thanks to LeBron James' hand, right? Now, let's move forward. Let's get him over there to Miami with the Dwayne Wade, the Chris Bosh. Now, LeBron James is not a point guard. Clearly, LeBron James is not a point guard. They had a point guard over there with Mario Chalmers. Won a championship against Illinois when he playing with North Carolina. You know, I'm an Illinois fan. You know, that's what Luke the Head, D. Brown, Sergio McClain, and that's what Mario Chalmers was playing. And Michael Jordan came to the game, said something to the referee, and all of a sudden, the 30-1 Illinois, damn near undefeated team, end up losing in the championship to North Carolina. I think, was it Sean? What's dude's name? The big boy, Sean. Got his name, but weak as hell, soft as hell. But Mario Chalmers, he came from that club. So he playing with Miami, the Miami Heat. And remember him and LeBron James kind of got into an altercation. Shit, I can look. Kind of show that. Let me show that. Hold on, let me show that. Where we at? Let's get it. y'all. Let's get it. Let's get it. So I want to deal with that. You know what? I think I'm on the wrong one. This just for if y'all don't remember this, but I know y'all saying this dude is a mess, but you know, bear with me. Miss Gigi, how you doing? All right, here we go. It is right here. It's the 2013, it's the Miami Heat. Yeah, I think that's it right here. So this is what I'm talking about right here.
Listen up, football fans. You won't want to miss this.
Right now, new Bet365 customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets, win or lose. So you can turn that $300 into something bigger when you bet on money line, spread, totals, player props.
$300.
This last time out, Chalmers and James still talking about it, and James gets very upset with Chalmers right here and gets in his face. These two have had that kind of relationship.
Yes.
Chalmers has always been kind of the little brother that they yell at. But you can see the frustration and, Doug, as you said, what this game means to Miami.
Absolutely. You can downplay it all you want and everything. This game is important, and LeBron very upset. Here's a turnover out of the timeout by Chalmers once again. Let's see if Indiana can converge.
Okay, so right there, when they was arguing right there, that's kind of, you know, he tried to downplay it, talking about they got that little brother. Nah, Chalmers wasn't rocking with him. Didn't nobody want to play with him. Remember, Kawhi Leonard didn't want to play with him. That's when he went to Toronto, right? Let me get that. Hold on. Sorry about that. Let me try to get back to the when Kawhi Leonard, LeBron wanted to play with him. He didn't want to play with Kawhi. Kawhi didn't want to play with him. You know, Kawhi was his own style, and we know every time LeBron James come to a team, you know, somebody role kind of lessen, right? So we know we got the Devontae West, we got the Dennis Schroeder, we got the Mario Chalmers. Also, you got James Ingram. LeBron James came to the Lakers when? LeBron James came to the Lakers in 2018, right? He came to the Lakers in 2018, right? They had a whole roster of young guys. By 2019, everybody was shipped out of the Los Angeles Lakers so that LeBron could play with who? AD, right? And yeah, they won a little championship. That's not really a championship, but you know, if you want to call it that, you can call it that. But I'm just giving you the LeBron James effect. You know what I mean? That he's kind of controlled the league. He's kind of put his, mark, and he's kind of going down because now they're trying to bring up Luka. Luka is the next man in play for the league. So, do anybody know who Lenny Cook is? A lot of y'all might not know who Lenny Cook is, right? Lenny Cook, now this is just the scandals of the NBA. LeBron James got a lot to do with it, but there's a lot of the NBA got things to do with it too. Like with the Rasheed Wallace, when he's saying like all the technical fouls, they say if he say anything, give him a technical foul. You got that to look at also. Now keep in mind that this dude named Lenny Cook, back when LeBron James was in high school, Lenny Cook was the #1 player in the nation, not just the state. #1 player overall. They did a 30 for 30 documentary. If anybody don't know who Lenny Cook was, he was way better than LeBron, right? I'm talking about undeniable talent, better than LeBron James. This Lenny Cook, right? So, and when I first found out about him, probably about maybe 8-9 years ago, the problem Lenny Cook had was he couldn't be coached. And if you can't be coached, they don't want you. You know what I mean? He was taking money he's from New York. He was dealing with Fat Joe and Jay-Z and them, and he's playing, and he's driving Hummers, and, they'll give him 30, 40,000, and he'll come play, in certain program games, and you can't do that because if you do that, you'll throw a real NBA game under the Blue Chips Act. You know what I'm saying? Put you a bag in your locker, and all of a sudden you not playing to your best ability. You know, you missing layups when it should have been a dunk. You know what I mean? Like, come on, let's you know, let's keep it a buck. But check it out, right? Let me see where we at. All right. Let's see who is Lenny Cook. Who is Lenny Cook? Now let's go. I want to go to YouTube. Lenny Cook. This might be a lot of y'all first time hearing about Lenny Cook. I want to do it. Well, we can do the live, but I'd rather just do the documentary. But this Sebastian, now, we know who Sebastian Telfair is, right?
I remember you were in 2001, I think. You were in the ABCD camp.
Yep.
Kobe Bryant spoke at that.
Yep.
Is that the first time you actually, like, met him and stuff like that?
That's definitely the first time I met Kobe at ABCD camp.
What was it like to have Kobe speak, and what do you think you got out of it?
Like, you know, anytime you're a kid like that, you see somebody in the NBA, like, you're analyzing everything about them. Like, I just remember him walking in with Vanessa. I remember, like, everything they had on. I remember Vanessa having Adidas, like, black tights with the stripes going down. I just remember, like...
Hold on for a second.
I just remember Kobe. This one, he got the Adidas fro.
Yeah, he had the fro. I remember.
He got the Adidas fro and shit.
Hold on 1 second.
I don't know. It just made someone... That was very, very, very... That was an important moment for all of us. You see how focused we was watching?
Yeah, no, I saw the video.
Like, I felt like everything he said, like, we was, like, absorbent right there in the moment. And, I don't know. It's weird, like... It's weird for Kobe not to be here and us to talk about him and shit. But that moment meant a lot because he definitely put us in pocket. He was telling us right there, yo, y'all gotta work hard. Yo, y'all could really do this. And he went from high school into the NBA. So I feel like him talking to me in that moment, I was sitting there in that moment like, I'm going to the NBA. That's what I was thinking when Kobe was saying they're talking. Like, I'm going to the NBA, I'm going to the NBA. How Kobe went to the NBA from high school.
I think this is was this the shot that happened around that time?
Yeah. That's definitely one of the shots. Look how young I am. Whoa, yeah. Jim Gatto. Wow. Julius Hodge is in there. Wow. That's a throwback.
Lenny Cook was there.
Lenny Cook was there.
Now, at the time, Lenny Cook was actually ranked higher than LeBron. Right?
Yep.
And did you ever play against him?
Against who?
Lenny.
In camp, yes.
In camp. What was that like?
I mean, Lenny was a beast. Lenny was like one of the first like big men point guards, kind of dribbling the ball. But like, LeBron was LeBron. LeBron was LeBron at hello. That's why I see people talk about Bron using steroids. If Bron using steroids, he'd been using steroids when we was kids. Fuck are y'all talking about? Oh, he's better than everybody because he's using steroids. Bullshit. He's been better than the rest of us. Like, I don't want to hear the steroids my ass. Shit.
Well, ultimately things didn't work out for Lenny.
No.
What do you think happened from your point of view?
They said Lenny had a lot of people around him, and maybe his work ethic. I'm not exactly sure. Everybody not gonna make it. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Everybody's not gonna make it. It's only what happened is it's only 400 jobs. If it was 1,000 jobs, they would have had a spot for him.
Yeah. I mean, it just sounds crazy to be that big of a prospect and ultimately not make it.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, like, Lenny Cook, people still talking about him today.
Yeah, for him not to get the opportunity to even actually, like, get in the league and, like, I don't understand. I don't understand exactly what happened. I don't know the details. I don't know, like, my brother Jamel, right? Played for Providence, leading scorer in Big East, all this type of stuff. They have him in the mock draft 14th, and they didn't pick my brother, and my brother did everything right. But what my brother,
see, what he doing, he fucking around. I don't want to hear that. Let's get to the real story.
Best players who never made it to the NBA. Back in 2001, Lenny Cook was the name everyone was talking about in high school basketball. He wasn't just good, he was the best. Scouts ranked him higher than future legends like LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony, and at the prestigious ABCD camp where stars are born, Cook dominated, earning underclassmen MVP honors. But what happened next is where the story takes a wild turn. You see, later that summer, Cook faced off against a young, unknown player named LeBron James at the same camp. While LeBron impressed everyone, Cook's reputation as the king of high school basketball remained intact, for now at least. But what happened after summer camp is the reason why Cook's career didn't pan out the way everyone expected. The thing is, Cook struggled with academics, so he never played college ball. Instead, he declared for the 2002 NBA draft after high school. Everyone assumed he'd be a first-round pick, but on draft night, his name wasn't called, and the reasons why will shock you. You see, at this point, Cook hadn't played organized basketball for over a year, leaving scouts unsure about his current form. On top of that, he injured his toe during the pre-draft camp, limiting his chance to prove himself, and teams were already concerned about his work ethic and preparation for the NBA. All these red flags seemed too risky and led teams to pass on him. Best players who never made it to the NBA. Back in 2001, Lenny Cook was the name everyone was talking about in high school basketball. He wasn't just good, he was the best. Scouts ranked him higher than future legends like LeBron James and Carmelo.
Well, let me say this, right? Let me say this, right? That whole story right there with the what bro talking about. Hold on. What the fuck happened? Hold on. So that whole story, what bro talking about is you got to keep in mind, right? Reason why I'm not gonna go with what bro said, that it was NBA politics. As for what I just told you about what happened with Lenny Cook, you have to keep in mind, right, that with Greg Oden, when he came to the league, right? Greg Oden was already hurt when he came to the league. They still took a chance on him. You know what I'm talking about? How many players came to the NBA, you know what I'm saying? And they said we gonna sit out and see what happened. Remember, Durant was number 2. You know what I'm saying? They chose Greg Oden for the number 1 pick because back then the big man was in, right? They did it with Greg Oden and who else they did it with? Let me see. We can actually do it like this. Let's do it like this here. So let me see. Player drafted still injured. So if we're gonna do that, right? No, we don't do that. Let's see. NBA players, let's see, number 1 picks. I'm just speaking in general. So I'm gonna make sure y'all still with me here, right? Let's do this. Still getting, all right, so look, all right. It says several players have been dealt with long-term injury with notable examples, including Greg Oden, the number 1 pick in 2007, whose career derailed by knee injury, and Michael Porter Jr., 14-09, who missed his game due to injury. Other players like LaMelo Ball and James Wiseman have also experienced significant injury that have impacted their players since being drafted, right? So, but this is what I'm saying, right? What I'm saying is, although these players, you know, like with the Greg Oden and things, remember, this before the Greg Oden effect. Greg Oden was drafted in 2007. LeBron them came in like 2003, so that ain't the case as far as them not choosing him based on injury. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't be controlled. They did a 30 for 30 on him, and when they ended up doing the 30 for 30, he just wasn't able to, you know, the NBA looked for a nice image. He didn't have that image like LeBron had. Everybody was impressed by LeBron because of the image, you know, that he had. But Greg Oden was better than him, clearly. Not Greg Oden. Lenny Cook was clearly better than LeBron James. You also got, again, with the Ingram, he cleared out that whole situation, and we can see what he up to now with the Luka situation, and you know what I'm saying? You know, he didn't attend Kobe Bryant funeral. He didn't go to, I believe, Dwayne Wade retirement thing. So there's a lot of funny things going on about him. You know, some things came up about him and his son or what matter. But I want to move forward. I want to move on. I definitely want to move on. Let's do this. All right, so I'm just saying about certain scandals about the NBA. So, you know, I'm going to run through these other ones, right? So, you know, you got people like Isaiah Thomas, not the bad boy Piston Isaiah Thomas, but you have the Boston Celtics Isaiah Thomas. When he was dropping 40 points, 50 points, he was killing the NBA that year, you know. And, you know, he's supposed to get signed to that $150 million deal. Remember, he's talking about they had to bring in a armor truck to drop all that money off. He was doing a lot of boasting and stuff, and he ended up getting signed to some 10-day contracts. Well, for the story, for what I hear, is that, you know, the Boston Celtics, just before the Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, if they would have signed up for that 150, they would have never got Tatum or Brown. But what ended up happening was Isaiah Thomas, he had some problems with his hip, right? He had some problems with his hip. And having the problems with his hip, you know, the NBA bought the Celtics like, look, we got the best doctors. I need you to go in there, and I need you to, you know, go through hip surgery. But what Isaiah Thomas did, he went outside the NBA and got his own doctor. And his own doctor say, well, you're going to be good. You don't need the surgery. You will heal through time. But, you know, you probably missed the first month of the NBA, and then you'll be back good. But the Boston Celtics wanted Isaiah Thomas to go through the hip surgery, you know, before, you know, the season started or something like that. And he didn't do it. And they were like, is you sure this is what you want to do? And he was like, you know, my mind is made up. So from that point on, he never was able to recover from that. You know, he started playing this, like I say, some 10-day contracts. He never got signed by any team, you know what I'm talking about. And that's kind of like, you know, some phone calls was made, and he kind of, you know, just lost his career based on that, you know. But, you know, that was some NBA underground stuff also that was going on as far as making phone calls. Let's get to the Craig Hodges, the 2 times 3-point champ, and maybe almost a three-peat with the 1993 Bulls. We know that the Craig Hodges, you know, it was the 3-point contest 2 years in a row, you know, for the Chicago Bulls. He can shoot that ball. Microwave oven. We know that Craig Hodges, you know, he had, you know, they won. They went to the White House to meet the president. Was it Clinton? It could have been Clinton. I'm not sure. Whoever the president was in '93. I think that could have been Clinton or Bush. It could have been one of them, but it could have been, I think it was Clinton. But they did go to the White House. They met Clinton. Craig Hodges gave the president a letter saying, hey, Mr. President, can you please stop this war? We're not understanding, you know, about the politics. That's, you know, why they was going over there for war, that they was some gangsters, and there's different things in that matter. But Craig Hodges passes the President of the United States a letter. The word got out. The NBA saying that they're embarrassed about, you know, like, who is you to walk up to get a president? Now, you're not even Michael Jordan. Pippen, at least. You know, to get a president a letter? I mean, Horace Grant probably had a better shot doing that, but you? Nah. So, you know, now they on a plane, right? And they heading back or whatever, and Craig Hodges' sister, she's like the stewardess. You know, she bring the people drinks and coffees and all that. And I think at the time you could smoke on the airplane, whatever. They might have a square or something. So what happened is she ended up overhearing them telling, she overheard them telling the each other's that when they get back, Craig Hodges is out. Okay. Hold on. 1 second. She heard them saying that Craig Hodges, you know, was out the NBA permit. Now, what ended up happening was, you know, Craig Hodges, before they went to the White House, he already had a deal on the table for $2 million. You know, back in the day, $2 million was a lot of money. You know, remember they signed Magic Johnson to a 20-year, $20 million deal. You know, back in the, that's how crazy the contract was. But, you know, people wasn't getting millions of dollar contracts. So Craig Hodges did have a $2 million deal on the table. That was good. Remember, Michael Jordan getting $3 million. You know, so that deal before the White House was on the table. After the White House was no longer on the table. He didn't play any of the games. He went to Dallas Mavericks and said that, you know, I guess, you know, he wanted to, can he work out there, training. They, oh yeah, you Craig Hodges. They let Craig Hodges work out at the Dallas Mavericks. They end up getting a phone call, the Dallas Mavericks, stating that Craig Hodges cannot work out at the facility, nowhere on the property, move around. They came to Craig Hodges and said, listen to me, man, I don't know what happened, man, but they saying that you can't practice here. You know, they told the Mavericks, look, he can't play, he can't work out there, we'll owe you a favor. That's the end of it, back. You know, and they just told him, look, whatever happened with you need to be figured out. I'll try to do something on the back end, but you know, it was pretty much dead and over it. You know what I'm talking about? So that's kind of what happened with the Craig Hodges deal. Remember, it got to the point to where Craig Hodges had to sell his NBA ring, you know, and that's what I'm saying. No, this stuff that I'm telling you about is bigger than Nino Brown, bro. All this stuff I'm telling you is bigger than Nino Brown. You know, this is not no let me see something. Yeah, this stuff here that I'm telling you about, this is you know. Let me see something. Yeah. Let me try to get this in again. Hold on. Let's do this like that. Let me reopen up. Let me reopen up this Google here. All right, let's do this. Come here. I think I did the wrong one. I'm slow. Sorry about that. It shouldn't be. Kelly, what's good? All right, so where we at? I'm trying to show y'all. All right, this ain't gonna work right here. So, you know, end up doing bro bad. You know, they end up doing bro real bad, which, you know, I feel sorry for the man. You know, he just trying to feed his family. But, you know, a lot of times you can't feed your family. If you don't play ball, you out the game. Simple math. All right, let's see. Make sure I'm here. All right, let's hear. All right, so let's do it like this. And they say for 10,000. I'm just saying how bad he got. Okay, well he got a little more than that. All right, so let's do this here. So Craig Hodges, 2009 Los Angeles Lakers World Champion rings, originally presented box. Okay, so sold for $27,584. Craig Hodges, long-term range, sharpshooter help. Two champions joined the Los Angeles Lakers as an assistant coach in 2005. Okay, Hodges helped the Los Angeles Lakers win their 15th championship in 2009. Hodges and the Lakers celebrated an achievement. Okay, so to mark his monument, updated, fresh, new scent. It was typically 14 karat gold design. Okay, Play, we see. Okay. So they say he sold his Los Angeles run on the coaching staff. Okay. So I thought he sold his Chicago Bulls rings. Because I know that would have been worth a little more. Let's see, did that actually happen? Because I thought I heard something about him selling his Chicago Bulls rings. Let me see. Let me see. I mean, don't tell me he sold everything. Let's go. Look, here it is right here. I know I ain't crazy. Look, see it right here. So on August 29th, right, the Chicago Bulls. I knew he sold it, so he was all, you know what I'm saying, out the game. And I think them was, you know, because it was, okay, the percentage of ring at a particular time history, noteworthy, recent last dance, documentary famous, filed a $40 million lawsuit against the NBA against claiming he had been blackballed. Right, they said he'd been blackballed, but he didn't really get no money for that because of the black players. The first ring, favorite have, what did he sell it for? The NBA and the Bulls post-game preseason. All right, let's just cut to the chase and say this right here. Let me see. How much did shit stupid. I'm just saying that it did happen. You know, I don't really want to go too far into the story, you know. Well, we seen one of them for 27,000. Let me see. They say awesome results. Well, I'm gonna move forward from there. But yeah, he I'm gonna move forward from there. But yeah, I ever said that he sold all his championship rings so he can maintain, right? Let's go to Muhammad Abdul-Aru, Chris Jackson. Who is Chris Jackson? Chris Jackson was a point guard who played with the Denver Nuggets, right? When the Chicago Bulls went 72-10, right, for that season, for their fourth championship when they played against Seattle. Then it's Utah. So you know you got the Lakers, you got Portland, you got Phoenix, you got Seattle, Utah. That's their 6 championships, right? They went across Chris Jackson, Muhammad Abdul-Aru. He was destroying the Chicago Bulls. destroying. Couldn't do nothing with him. I'm talking about dropping 35 for easy, right? What ended up happening with Muhammad Abdul-Aru, right? So he ended up, because he was a Muslim. And, during that time, with the Saddam Hussein, America was doing certain things with, different countries on some, some gangster stuff. So when it came down to the national anthem, I pledged allegiance, and, he wouldn't abide to it. He wasn't kneeling or doing anything. So they kind of like, after the third time it became noticeable, and they came to him and he like, well, that's y'all religion, that's not mine. And when they whole thing was like, well, we paying you, how you plan, like, see with America, it's one nation under all. If you're in America, you got to bow to American rules. You know what I mean? If you from, Saudi Arabia, go back over there and play ball over there. We paying you millions of dollars. You get what I'm saying? So the thing is with, with the Chris Jackson, Muhammad Abdul-Aru, he was a prominent point guard. Like he was top 3 outside. It really was like, you had guys like Kenny Anderson, Tim Hardaway, they was okay. You had Magic Johnson, he was an older point guard. But this dude, Chris Jackson, was something different. Just look up his highlights. Don't take my word. Let's see. You know what? Let's try to get it in here. Let's see something. Let me give you. I wonder why they keep doing this shit. You gotta get the commentary action. Let me see something. Let's do the Chris Jackson. All right, so y'all with me, right? Let's just go here. A lot of y'all young. Y'all don't really understand. Y'all on the internet looking, looking for highlights. You know what I mean? But no, this is a real boy. Let me see. Chris Jackson. I'm gonna do a quick one. NBA highlights.
Imagine bringing your side project to life just by thinking about it.
That boy was a star. Let's go through some. Try to get a better string so y'all can. I mean the voice ain't a little bad, but let's get it. Yes, sir.
Raul for 3, Raul connects for 2. On the drive, Chris Jackson nicely done. The outside, Raul connects for 3. Oh, fade away from 16 hit. Jackson. Left side of Raul, fake back left to the corner, jump up, good. Beautiful move. Chased by Russell, but he's going, gone. Jackson for 2. About 4 minutes here, 3 minutes there. Jackson around everybody off the glass. So Ellis over to Raul, sidesteps the monkey face, starts 5 minutes to play. Abdul Raul. 1 second, Jackson for the game! Yeah! Hakeem. Clyde runs there. As Chris behind the back dribble, he throws him a tumble back to Mahmoud, open for three. And again. Raul with a Mahmoud Abdul Raul for three. Rose with the pull-up. That's what he does well. Look at this. Look at this. Styles now, having recorded 20 assists. Quick fake by 13 in the fourth quarter. Well, Jackson.
All right, and a lot of jump shots being taken, and just like summer All-Star games, you always, well, I don't know, he might get an NFL contract.
Chris Jackson.
Jackson, he's keeping him in there.
Look, I'm just showing y'all, right, that this guy was the absolute terror. You understand what I'm saying? This dude here was an absolute terror. Let me see something. I'm just showing y'all, look, this guy here was an absolute terror, right? But because he didn't bow to the national anthem, you know, regardless of how good he was, the NBA, you know, they kind of like was done away with him. They didn't, you know, he didn't. Now, we know that he's in the Big Three. He was a coach for the Big Three with the Ice Cube, you know, because Ice Cube know about the politics and, you know, this. So this just not in the NBA. This just anytime you dealing with anything, Hollywood or corporation, anything owned by the Jews, you can kind of expect some trickery to go on. You know, remember, Golden State Warriors, they just came off the championship. Remember, Klay Thompson, he was hurt. You know, and I forget what he did, something with his Achilles, I'm not sure, but Klay Thompson was hurt. But they wanted to break up the Splash Brothers. They wanted Klay Thompson to take less money, knowing that, you know, he wanted a mass contract, you know, like I done won 2 championships with y'all, you know, what do you want, like 3 or something? 3 championships with him. But they wanted to, you know, to be the Steph Curry show. They was kind of done with the Splash Brothers, you know, they wanted to get all the glory with the Steph or whatever. You know, they brought in Durant. Remember Klay Thompson saying he's not going to take less money, or, you know, he's not giving up his shots for nobody. You remember that? This kind of where a lot of this stuff starting to birth. You know, when he's saying, yeah, I'm not gonna take less money for nobody in so many words. Let's try to, let me see something. I know make sure y'all, we still on the same page. Let's get it. Okay. Let's get to your mans. And I'm going to be honest. I'm just going to keep it a buck. I was never a Klay Thompson fan. He can shoot, but y'all put too much sauce on him. On his role. You know, because this kind of where it birthed at. This is kind of where it birthed at. So we know that during the time that Kevin Durant arrived, Klay felt threatened because it's like, well, y'all bringing in him for what? Remember, Draymond Green went to grab Kevin Durant after they lost. What do you say?
Kevin Durant comes and joins you guys. What's your initial thought? Oh, it's over.
Well, that's something different. Nah, when he say he, let's see, when you're
Time's up.
Yeah.
Not really. You know, it's cool again. Not really. I just think, look at a guy like Moncho, who came off the bench almost his entire career, never averaged, I think, more than 20 points a game. But he's a full-time champion, you know. And he could have easily been on another team that averaged 25 a game. He sacrificed to win. And that's what I expect to do next year. You know, I don't care about averaging 25 or even 20. I just want to finish it out and get back to the finals and enjoy that ride. So I'm not really worried about all that.
You realize that means I'm running with a headline. Clay wants to come off the bench.
That misconstrued my words now. But I mean, I'll do whatever it takes to win, man. That's simple.
I know it's only the first day in this training camp, but if you notice, I know last year it was kind of, well, I don't know that, maybe I could be wrong, but you know, guys were, you know, kind of energized, being the champions and everything. Obviously, we had a phenomenal record-breaking, record-setting season this year. Came up a little bit short in Game 7.
One more question, we need to finish this up.
You have that mentality that you're going to go ahead and Kyrie and these guys are all teammates on the same team now.
I mean, I'll go out and practice, but better from it. I mean, but we're on the same team now, so I'm not trying to kill the guy. Just have fun, and I think we can all get each other better. It's so cool playing with all these dudes. And, it's great being here with Draymond and KD. I'm really happy to have it going on here since we had an amazing career.
I mean, all that sound good, right? But the man was saying he's not giving up his shot. Let me see. Claims not taken. Of course, he's saying that because you got to be, you know, you gotta be the type, because of course Durant a bigger star than him, so you got to be the type that, you know, you got to be known as a team player. You know, if you're difficult, we just showed you what happened when you difficult. When you difficult, you know what I'm saying, they tend to get rid of people. What is this at? Okay, so they ain't getting me nothing on it. Let me see. Well, part of it's for. Yeah, because they saying that he want to be on the bench. Look, the Warriors need Kevin Durant, the Splash Brothers. All right. See, this 2019. Let's see what we got here.
This right here, ESPN Bet. This is the sportsbook that gives fans the tools they need. Better insights, smarter bets. ESPN Bet's got you covered. And right now, get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 bet.
Do you think the Warriors need Kevin Durant to win this series? And is Kevin Durant coming back?
I believe they need him to win the series, particularly now that Clay is a little banged up also. You see they need perimeter scoring, and when they only have Steph and Clay, that's not enough. Cousins came in and gave him a big scoring punch. So those 10 to 15 points, they actually need that off the bench. I thought Cook came in and did well, but, you know, with Durant, that's just a totally different animal. So they definitely need him out on the floor to win this series, in my opinion.
I don't believe that. I believe that Zeke, one of the top 50 players of all time, two-time champion, is wrong on this one. I believe if Klay Thompson and Boogie and Iguodala, if they're healthy, they will win this title without KD in 6.
But Klay got the hamstring.
No, I said no. Let me only tell you why I'm not bringing the hamstring into the equation. Because coming into the series, you picked Toronto at 6. Klay didn't have a hamstring injury then.
Can you tell I'm rooting for Toronto?
I got you. That's all I'm saying. In other words, we understand that without Klay, Golden State's toast. We get all that. Iguodala, we get all that. But I'm saying without KD, if everybody else is there, I'm picking the Warriors to win this in 6. And people pick Toronto in 6 strictly because of KD. And I'm saying that's what the prediction is predicated on.
The problem with that is, Clay, you're saying, what if he's just physically compromised, but he's out there? Does that count too, or do you need him healthy?
You need him healthy.
Kawhi's not healthy, brother. Kawhi is not right, but he's so...
You remember about this here, when him and Stephen A. Smith fell out, you know, when he got the new job as the podcaster, Stephen A. Smith called him and acted like he had something to do. But they was kind of jealous because he was kind of out talking Stephen A. Smith, you know what I'm saying, in football and basketball. And, you know, Matt started to, you know, gain some tension. You know what I'm talking about? So, you know, some behind the scenes things happen with that. You know, we got some behind the scenes. Let me try to get back. We got a lot of behind the scenes happening in the NBA a lot, right? There's a lot of behind the scenes things happening in the NBA, but in a nutshell, we know Clay went to Dallas. You know, they wanted to sign him for less money. They wanted to break out the Splash Brothers. They kind of rebuild a team. Clay banged up, Curry on his way out the door. You know, so pretty much in a nutshell, you know, Clay ended up going somewhere else. You know, he had to say the things that he say. He can't be like, man, look, we don't really need Durant. You know, like Kyrie Irving say with Steve Nash, like, man, we don't need a coach. With the New Jersey Nets, like, man, we don't even need no coach. You know, Clay was kind of on a different mode. You know, sometimes, because if you say anything out of order, the media are going to eat it up. That's their job, is to destroy you. So that's one thing about Michael Jordan. That's why he always watched what he say. He know how the media work. The media is there to destroy you. And everything you said, you'll be scrutinized by, right? So with that being said, that's kind of the story that was on Klay Thompson. We know Boogie, DeMarcus Cousins, he put himself out the league. He was doing too much. You know what I mean? A lot of fighting. You know, he came in LeBron James' face when they was with the Lakers. He didn't produce. You know, he was plagued by injuries. You know, so he kind of kicked himself out the league. You know, Kawhi had to speak up for him one time. They was talking about getting rid of Boogie. And he like, yeah, but coach, you know, he can play. And, you know, and it was just, you know, they didn't want to talk to him. He was talking about fight the coach 3 times, DeMarcus Cousins. You know, he did this in college. Then he went over there to the CBI, or to Puerto Rico, same behavior. So, you know, there ain't no time for that tough guy stuff in the NBA. You know, this is a business. You want to do all that, you know, that gang thug stuff, do it somewhere else. You know, you're not going to do it in the NBA. You know, it's an image that the NBA represent. It's an image. Where else we at, man? Let me see. What about the Mar Jackson situation? When Mar Jackson was coaching the Golden State Warriors with what's buddy's name? Monte Ellis. And this the rise of Steph Curry. When Steph Curry came in, Monte Ellis was already dropping 23, 24. Do the highlights on Monte Ellis. You know, if y'all don't know Monte Ellis. Mar Jackson had that team good. They was a 50-plus win team. They was on their way. They just got Steph Curry. You know what I mean? They finna make some noise. What happened to Mar Jackson? He got blackballed. You know what I'm saying? He didn't get a coaching job. You know what I'm saying? Then they had to do on commentary. All the jobs that was open, they kind of passed up on him. So whatever happened, I got to look more to that story. Whatever happened with Mar Jackson, you know what I mean? It's just another NBA conspiracy, right? And, you know, when you look behind, you know, these 2 guys back here, David Stern and this other cat right here, the Jew. What about the, you know, the G League player? You know, the G League player. He came in from the G League. You know, they signed him to a 10-day contract. Summer League come up, right? I think he played with Detroit and he played with the Chicago Bulls on a 10-day contract. They offered him $16 million for a 3-year contract. It's a summer game. They invite some players to come. The players end up coming. Superstar. Dude, he guarding Buddy. Buddy hit him. Bang, bang, spin, dunk. The whole gym going wild. Females, oh my God. You know, the coach is like, whoa, they got the clipboard, you know, talking and whispering to each other here. Man, bro never got a contract. 3 teams passed up on him. 3 teams passed up on him. And he had a guaranteed $16 million for 3 years. You got 3 teams looking at you. 3 teams not going to pass up on you unless it's some phone calls being made. You know what I mean? A lot of that stuff. That's just another conspiracy of the NBA. You know, Dame Lillard, when he was with, was that Portland? Remember, he couldn't get on the All-Star team for a long time, although he was an All-Star. You know, he was blackballed upon that. So you got the Dame Lillard thing, right? You got the, I know y'all might not remember, but the Xavier McDaniel, you know what I'm saying? They wanted to get rid of him. And, you know, sometimes, you know, a lot of things, you know, sometimes you got to move a piece or two around. But, you know, you got the Xavier McDaniels thing going back with the ass man. Remember, he was known for punking Pippen. You can go back to the video when he pushed Pippen out of bounds, and, you know what I'm saying, and Jordan had to get up and start talking crazy to the bully because Pippen was scared. Pippen didn't even want to come up the aisle. Xavier ass man had them boys scared. And, you know, that's when he was with the Knicks. And I think they moved him over to Seattle. You know what I'm saying? But that kind of, the Knicks probably could have beat the Bulls that year because I think they lacked physical, Patrick Ewing was cool. He was okay. But now ass-man was that dude, you know what I'm saying? They get up in your face. See, back then, basketball was a physical sport. You can talk a person out of the game. You know, you can talk crazy to him. You can slap still off somebody and body slam them, and you just probably get a $10,000 fine. You back the next game. It wasn't that severe, you know what I mean? So, you know, a lot of dudes was getting talked out their game, and you come to that hole, I'm gonna bow you, I'm gonna hit you. You know, that's the bad boys come in under that act, you know. So they did get rid of S-Man. They brought in Anthony Mason to pair up with Charles Oakley. He had Charles Smith. Charles Smith was the softest cat poop, bubble gum, charms tissue forever. You know, Charles Smith, he just wasn't that. You know, he was laying the ball up instead of dunking. This dude 7'2", dunked the ball. He laying the ball up. I mean, he was just too soft. So that didn't work out with that. But yeah, man. I mean, pretty much, man. That's the NBA. You know, the NBA. What about the Rasheed Wallace thing? You know, when he was saying that, you know, it was a certain referee that kept taking him. He was getting technical fouls. Remember that time he was looking at the dude and he tacked him, and Steve Smith like, well, he didn't even do nothing. He tacked him just for looking at him. Like, I guess an intimidation stare. But, you know, Steve Smith like, leave me alone, Steve. Leave me alone, Steve. You know what I'm saying? That's when Rasheed Wallace got tacked. You know, it was a lot of things, but then it come find out that during the time that Rasheed Wallace played basketball, keep an eye on it. Like, before the game, they get a phone call from David Stern. Hey, listen to me. If Dennis Rodman do anything, he's out of here. I don't care. Take him from everything. If Rasheed Wallace do anything, get him out of here. So, you know, even if you go back to that game, you know what I'm talking about. Let me get you that. When you go back to that game, let's go. All right. Rasheed Wallace. Check for this the game right here.
Yep.
Right here.
Timeout LA. Whack! Get out! Get away from me, Steve. Get away from me, Steve. He didn't say a word. Technical foul, Wallace. He's gone. No, not right. I asked him 3 times to stop the referee. He's trying to intimidate me. I'm done. He's gone. I asked him. I already told Mike twice before to have him stop staring and try to intimidate me. He did it again. He's gone.
Hey, man, I can't make this up, Jack. I cannot make this up. You know, that's the stuff I'm talking about, man. You know, the NBA was infamous, you know, for doing certain things, but the man just staring at him, and he talking about he trying to intimidate him. But then it comes find out that the referee was throwing certain games, you know what I mean? And the feds got involved in it. I think it was like three years ago. The feds got involved with this certain referee that was steady throwing technical fouls and fines towards Rasheed Wallace. And he said he was on a boat, summer vacation fishing somewhere. He got the phone call, like turn the news on. He turned the news on. He was screaming for joy, like, I told y'all they was on this, woo woo, like I proved my theory. So, you know, man, hey, the NBA, man, they have to have a face. You know what I'm saying? At one point, it was Magic and Bird. Then we know Michael Jordan had the face. Then we know Kobe Bryant's the face of the league. Then LeBron James. They try to give it to Derrick Rose. They want to give it to Ant-Man. Ant-Man said he don't want it. So now they looking at Luka, you know what I'm saying, the Great White Hope or something like that. But they have to have a face. The NBA have to have a face. They have to have somebody, as a savior. Now, keep in mind, whenever the NBA have a face, notice them teams win multiple championships. Just notice that. The Lakers, 5. The Celtics, 3. The Bulls, 6. LeBron, 4. The Lakers with Kobe, 5. You understand what I'm saying? So now they trying to just hear me out. Watch whoever the next face is. Watch how they win championships. The NBA gonna make sure you win championships. You being the face. You know what I mean? Because they gotta promote you. You know, man. You know they try to give it to Kawhi. Remember, at some point, Tim Duncan had like 4 or 5 championships. You know, although Tim Duncan was the kind of like, he was sort of somewhat a face, but not quite that, because they'll win a year, lose a year, win a year, lose a year. But Tim Duncan was always in that talk as far as being a face of the NBA, but it was never put out there. They tried to give it to Kawhi. Kawhi got 3 championships, I believe. Toronto, 2 with Spurs. But, injuries plagued him to where, okay, we can't go out, because, he had image-wise. So, now, if Derrick Rose, when he got hurt that year, the Bulls was going to win that championship. That was their year, But after D. Rose got hurt, they kind of killed, that whole scenario there. Let me see. But, yeah, other than that, man, with the referee scandals and who was that dude that got banned from the NBA a while back, white boy? 60s or something, the Bob Cousy acts. But there's a lot of scandals. Jordan said when he first came to Chicago Bulls, he went in the hotel room, and I think he said this on The Last Dance. He said how they was doing that. They was doing crack cocaine, man. You understand? They was doing crack cocaine, and he came in there and he seen them snorting, and he like, no, this is not going to work. He know what I'm talking about, and had to get rid of the whole team. That's when they had the artist Gilmore and things in that matter. I don't really talk a lot of sports, you know what I mean? But a lot of this stuff I had to get off my chest. But, it was pretty much dealing with the Chicago Bulls, the Game 7 being rigged so they could win the championship. And I'm a Bulls fan of that era, not this era. But they didn't beat the Pacers, I'm sorry. They couldn't beat the Pacers that year. It just wasn't there. But then you got the Dennis Schroeder. Turning down the $84 million was a lie. That money was never offered to Dennis Schroeder. Never. You know what I mean? And why would you go for $84 million to sign for $5 million? The money was never on the table. LeBron had hands on that. And that's why I say I don't really rock with LeBron James like that, because he got his hands on a lot of nonsense. You know what I mean? But, I'm gonna leave it at that. You know what I'm talking about? I'm going to kind of, log off or whatever. But them some of the scandals that the NBA possess, and that's why I don't watch the NBA no more. It's more politics, All-Star games is bubblegum, and ever since this dude took over the NBA, it's just been trash. You can't play physical. You say something bad to a person, you're fine. You know, they try to, you know, change the way a person dress. That's what the Allen Iverson coming in with the gold chains and the braids. And, you know, they say David Stern, you know, put it out to where you have to wear suits, but that really came from Isaiah Thomas, the Detroit Piston bad boy Isaiah Thomas, when he was coaching the Nets and he had all the players coming there with suits and everything. And David Stern's like, how you get these guys to come in with suits? And Isaiah Thomas like, man, look, you know, this is a place of business. You know, when you come here, you come to work. So, you know, when you come, if you go to an office job or anything else, you have to come dressed with suit and ties. So for this organization, if you're going to play for, you know, New York Knicks, you have to come with, you know, properly. You know, that's what the whole coming to the NBA and you can't wear jerseys and braids and gold chains. That's where that come in from. Because you got people billions of dollars. They really don't want to see that. The billionaires don't want to see that. You know, you're property. In so many words, you're property. You know, you come, shut up and dribble. You know, we don't pay you millions of dollars, dribble. We don't want all that rah-rah. We don't want the loud speakers. We don't want the cornrows. We don't want the gold chain, the jersey with the baggy pants and the Jordans. No, you come in here with a suit and tie, you know, and that's kind of Isaiah Thomas adapted that. So that's what the dress code came. And people say, well, it's because of Iverson. No, it wasn't because of Iverson. It wasn't because of Iverson. You know, with the tattoos and the trend. That wasn't it. Isaiah Thomas set that trend when he was president of the New York Knicks, I believe, during that time. So that's where all that come in at. But, you know, man, you know, for those who have an ear, man, I'll say, for those who have an ear, let them hear, man. But until next time, man, you know, y'all like, subscribe. You know, the Cash App code ready, brother code 48. Accept all donations, man. You know, y'all play this video back, man. Thanks for y'all rocking out. You know what I mean? But, man, that's where we at with it. I'm out.
Whether it be you and me to the end of eternity, and naturally, you gotta show me love.